I am Mindy and I'm living intentionally. I haven't done that for like a long time. I didn't even know if I still could. I wasn't planning on doing it at all. I wasn't planning on much. So I recently called my mom and I asked her a question that's been like burning in my mind like every time I'm not on the phone with her. Actually, like when I want to call my mom and ask her this is I look really bad. When I want to call my mom and ask her this is like the wee hours of the morning, okay? And so I don't. And so I keep not asking her this question and like I really didn't realize that it was gonna be like such an involved conversation or what was gonna happen. But now it makes sense that I wasn't that I was feeling like there's a time, like I was putting it off and calling her at like, certain hours or like when I knew that like she'd be tired from work or whatever. Like I don't know. So the question that I asked my mom was what was it, Mindy? It was I a normal kid? Was I ever a normal kid actually, specifically? Was I ever a normal kid? And and my mom was like kind of taken aback like yeah, I mean you were quiet. You were quiet. But yeah, you were a normal little girl. And I'm like, okay, that's really weird because like I don't remember that. Like I don't have access to that. Like if it is indeed true. Okay. Um so much came to light in this conversation, but the what happened was my mom was like, "Oh, I'm glad that you want to drive again." And I'm like, "I didn't stop driving because I don't want to drive. Like I have not been able to drive. Like driving is like oh my gosh, like so much freedom, so much fun. Also like potential danger, like if you're suicidal on the road, like you're in a big old murder machine. And also you can like stalk people that litter or smoke and follow them home and think about murdering them. Anyway, um um I, I was like, mom, like even if I do learn how to drive, like thank you so much for coming and teaching me. Like oh, that's awesome. Like what a cool experience that we get to have that as mother and child like all these years later. And thank you so much for being willing to do that. But like even if I do learn how to drive, like I might not be able to drive still because like okay, like I can go to Walmart, but there's no telling who's gonna come out of Walmart. And if it's someone who doesn't know how to drive, then I mean, what am I gonna do, And she's like, huh? And so because of like how this, because I was like, oh please, like honestly, I'm like, oh mom, please don't get your hopes up about me just driving again. Like it's so much more complicated than that. Like, And and because this was about driving, um like I was really, just naturally like talking about DID, like trying to explain DID to her as having different people in the car. There's like it's like someone takes the wheel and someone like and so I told her like, well, like so like you don't have this experience that I have where someone takes control of your body and does things with it and says things with it that you are not wanting to happen. You are well aware that they are not doing the right thing with your body and your life and help us to stop it. And so I was like, okay, so mom, like think like surely at some point you've been like going somewhere and you knew where you were going. You knew exactly what street to turn on and what streets to avoid because there was traffic and construction and stuff. And you're telling this to the driver as they're driving and they're not listening to you. And it doesn't matter how much you argue with the driver, like you you can't you can't control where the car is going, and that's what it's like for me. Now sometimes, like, I may be just like sitting next to them, and I can take the wheel, like when like whoa, like you're about to just like run us off the road, or like hit a tree, like things like that, like I can take the wheel, right? There's times um and then what I'm talking about is complete dissociative identity, where um I'm actually in the back seat behind, like I can't there's that like police partition, like I can't access the driver, like they can hear me and we're arguing, and they're ignoring me or arguing back, right, and doing whatever they want to do. They're driving the car wherever they want to drive the car, and I am absolutely helpless to stop this, even if I know that they're going to the wrong place, that they're going in the wrong direction. And 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 as I'm like explaining dissociative identity disorder, using this people driving a car analogy, I I got through to my mom about dissociative identity disorder, about how I experience it. And I told her, you know, that the first time that I felt a complete split, and just like in the back seat, like watching in horror, truly aware that 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 is not me, was after the first injection of Thorazine. And the times that I've experienced feeling taken over by another entity, possessed, has been for my survival, and in crisis situations, like the when the cops came because my first boyfriend was like violently abusing me, and they were like, "Oh, what's behind that door?" And like a whole bunch of fucking glassware was behind that door, right? Like fucking cherry bomb collection. Completely clean. Every bit of it. Sparkling fucking perfectly clean. They shouldn't have been able to take it, but they did. Uh, Kansas Joko cops, yo. And and I'm like, I don't know where that key is. But as I said, I don't know where that key is in this crisis moment. Like I was just in like fight, flight, life or death. I was like fighting for my life with my boyfriend. Now there's cops here. Um I went to a drawer in the kitchen. I moved things like a robot playing Tetris, like totally just like produce the key, and I'm like, here's the key, and open the door, and oh look, there's all of the illegal, and was in big trouble. And like like I really did not know that that key was there. I really didn't know where the key was. I'd lived there months, my move-in date was so far behind me. Like maybe like a couple years actually, cuz like that would have been after uh I was let go. There was the layoffs at Dish Network, and yeah. So anyway, and then I explained to her that like another time that I've experienced this, cuz she's like, well, what happened, like what happened to you that this is a new experience for you? And I'm like, oh no mom, like this goes so far back it's not even funny. Okay, like so I'm tracking it backwards, right? I'm like, this is not new. What's new is that like I'm having complete split, and and I went down this like really wrong path that was like trying to explain that borderline personality disorder, like you wear masks and you're able to like present yourself as the person that occasion or that individual needs you to be or wants you to be, and you have control over it, like you rise to the occasion. Like here I am, I'm in boss mode because I'm at work. Like here I am, I'm in friend mode because it's time to play, and like that's all gone now. That's all gone now. These masks are shifting over my face like clouds. I am so transient that I'm not firmly even shifting into anything really anymore. And I guess that's like healing. That's like, you know, fusion. But so I'm tracking backwards, and I'm like, so one of the times that I experienced this was when, dad backed me into the tub, and that was, that was the event, that was the precipitative event. Like that was exactly what happened, that made me actually just like tell on him when I was called to the counselor's office, and they were like, "So is there anything that you want to talk about today?" And I was like, "Yeah, my dad has been physically and sexually abusing me for years." And yeah, so that was a time that like I felt like I was not in control of what I wanted to do. I saw the rug slipping. I was like like this, like I looked at my dad, like he saw the rug slipping, and like knowing that if I like jerked, if he like, startled, like was like, like if I like that rug was gonna go. And so I was okay, like don't react to it. Like he's like, don't react to it. And I did react to it. So like when he did that, I fell backward into the tub. And yeah. And so it's like he didn't physically push me into the tub. He did that, like he did a fake out thing while he knew and I knew that I was precariously balanced with a rug slipping out from under my feet. And yeah, just into the tub. And then I explained to her that I experienced this in what was a diagnose my initial diagnosis was ODD. Oh, and aren't I odd? Oppositional defiant disorder, ODD, okay? And that I would sincerely, severely want to just obey dad. It's like he's not asking that much. Like make eye contact, do the thing, say the words. And that kind of disconnect. Like I did not feel like I was, entirely in control, but it wasn't at that point like recognizing like any of the resistance or the ability to perform outside of what my awareness was, as in the case of the key, like I didn't know where that was. How did I know where that was? Like someone else knew where that was. They weren't like distinct like personas. They weren't people. I did not identify them as other. It was me being stubborn. It was me like having to, like try to reason with myself to be obedient. And um and and now we're tracking backwards, and I'm like and like the reason that I was, like so suicidal was because like I saw life as just like this dream that we're all having, and death as not an end but a transition and indeed a reset, and that what had gone wrong in this reality where I exist aware that I am all that is, the creator and the creation at the same time, and I have all of these psychic abilities, and like way too much power that I don't know how to control. And like, oh, what went wrong here is I was supposed to have been a boy. I should have been a boy. So like if I die and reset and I come back, then I can be a boy, right? So being suicidal, like really firmly rooted in me feeling like I am not as I was supposed to be. That fundamentally something was so wrong here, and it could never be fixed because did not entertain any delusional belief that I could actually become a boy. I did not expect anyone to agree with me or even share with anyone that like I'm a boy soul in a girl body. That's like I just lived my life. And obviously, like, that's, that's a definitive, like, male female alternate identity type of split. Oh, hi, Sneaky McPeaky. It's good to see you. Thank you for the love. Oh, I love you. I'm so glad you're still out there. Are you doing well? I am doing well. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, like explaining to my mom that this is nothing new. And she's like, "You were suicidal as a child?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like since the age of 5 solidly." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't really realize that." And I was like, "Yeah, and I was screaming that I didn't want to be here, that I wished I hadn't been born, and just like uh desperately collapsing. That was, yeah, that's what that was. I didn't have the word suicidal. I didn't know the word suicide until I was in 4th grade. So, you know, but like all my like resisting the impulse to run into traffic, to burn the house down with me inside of it, to stab myself with a knife, to choke myself, to all kinds of things. Like that began at 5. And um I don't know, like about the same time or shortly thereafter, like I also wanted to harm other people. Because again, like I view this as just like this like dream simulation, like video game type of experience. And like you got to think like I'm really old, so like back in the day, like Atari and like Super Mario Brothers was my video game, uh, awareness. So anyway, um, she was like, "Oh, I didn't hadn't realized that," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I've dealt with suicide. I've resisted killing myself like all my life. Like, yeah." And and then I get to it because like she's like, what was it?" Because her question, right? Her question was like, "What was it that happened? What happened?" And I'm like, "Well, okay, so typically it is acknowledged, it is known within the psychiatric industrial community, within the psychiatric industrial community, it is well known and well established that dissociative identity disorder is the result of repeated trauma to a child's psyche. So much horror and darkness that the child's psyche cannot handle it, and must have someone stand in to take that experience, to hold those memories and protect them because it would destroy them. I don't have any memory or recollection, uh, any awareness whatsoever of like repeated sexual abuse or like violent physical abuse. Like was I spanked? Like yes, like beaten with a belt and a yardstick and a stick from the yard. Yes. I don't think that that would do it, but if it would, then we really have to like re-examine the uh statistical prevalence of dissociative identity disorder and its relationship with the cycle of abuse, um, because like that would be impressive, that would be interesting, but because I don't really think that that is, because that didn't seem, because that didn't even seem like such a big deal to me, like when I was a kid. It was like it's just something like you mess up, you there's pain, like that's just, it's kind of like corrective, like I get that. And I don't have any other I don't have any other explanation. Now there could be another explanation and I just don't know what it is, because obviously I could have repressed memories of this abuse, whether it's sexual trauma or ritual abuse, as we now are aware that my father was a blood ritual sacrificing dark warlock person. Um, it could be that, but I don't know. That could resurface when I'm 55 and just like, oh wow, this fell out of a box in my brain as the house is falling into disrepair, kind of. Like that happens to people. That could happen to me. Um and like I would really like to recover those memories. Like I'm pretty certain that like anything that I experienced, like I could fully deal with. I'd be okay. I don't think that it would break me if I was aware of it now. Um Obviously I don't want to go through it as my child alter now. That would be bad. That would be bad for her. But yeah. Um so the event we are pointing to, which caused me to have a identity that did not coalesce, because dissociative identity disorder is the result of a of the child mind not developing properly and coalescing. Every child is a dissociative identity disorder system. like it's just part of human life, and these things and they coalesce, and there's not a disorder. um so the event that I explained to my mom is just my awakening when I was 5 years old in the backyard. Just the awareness of I am realizing that I am God, and I now have to impose limitations and exercise patience. I have to operate from multiple levels of awareness. I have to be multidimensional and aware of it, and viewing myself from outside of myself, and figuring out like what side of the mirror I'm on, and that type of stuff. Like that awakening, potentially, I mean, it was like being struck by lightning in the backyard. Like if a strike of lightning was enlightenment, and just full woke mode awakening that like people are only like recently really getting on board with. Like I've been there since 1988. Thank you for joining me in the evolution of human consciousness. I've been waiting for you. um and uh and that obviously, like, that would be a whole lot of information and responsibility for a child to deal with. And indeed it was a lot of responsibility. um and talking about this stuff, I then explained to my mom that like I wasn't good because I was good. I was good because I had like this understanding of the way reality works that was like chains like binding me. Like it would be illogical to retaliate when someone hurts me or bullies me. That would be illogical because they are me and they just don't realize it. We're all God having an experience here, and everyone else is just asleep and I'm awake. And probably the reason that they target me is because I am awake and they're not awake, and it's like I'm a different thing in in a way that they innately understand, that they innately sense, but they do not understand, right? Um, because I was hated and attacked and bullied relentlessly and teased and othered, even though I was not dressing like a weirdo. I was not trying to present as a different gender. Um, like it was just fact of the matter. It was like my forehead said hate me, and it was invisible. I used to like examine my face like in the mirror when I was a kid. I'd just be like, what is it? Like they see something that I don't see. And I had a widow's peak that I don't have anymore because I beat my head on the wall so much when I was younger, in my younger years. It's like really sparse, but it was a very pronounced widow's peak. Um and I was like, that's a witch thing. So like that's why they call me a witch specifically. Like, is that like does that tell them something about my genetics, that like they know that my blood is different? I mean, I think my blood is different. I think it's delicious and magical, but they're not drinking my blood. So it's just like it's like they see something here. It's like they see something here that I can't see. Well, it's kind of like what they see is my third eye being open. Um But yeah, as it turns out, it was like when I was able to articulate this part of my life, this part of my childhood, my lived experience. I was in the psych ward, Shawnee Mission Med Center, where I lived for several months, and I inadvertently quoted word for word, verbatim, Charles Manson. That's a Charles Manson lived experience. That is a Charles Manson, the serial killer, lived experience. And it's like, it's one thing to kind of like flippantly offhand, or like, I don't know, like I'm like trying to get cred or something. Like, I am not trying to be the craziest girl in the room at all times. I'm really not. But like, just be like, yeah, like serial killer was something that I could have been. uh Serial killer or cult leader, that's not something that I'm just saying. It is very, very real. It is very, very real. It is very it If not for my spiritual understanding, if not for my I am being awakened, my awakening when I was a little kid, very, very easily you can see, you could absolutely logically track and understand why I poisoned a bunch of people, shot up a school, blew up a mall. Like, these things, they make sense for the way I have been treated throughout my life. I didn't do those things. I didn't actually do those things. Only thought about doing those things. I feel culpability for those things having happened in reality around the time that I was just like at the end of my rope and feeling like all of that God awareness chain wasn't gonna hold me back much longer. So that's an interesting thing. So, like, that's it's a lot of responsibility. So it is asking a small child to bear a lot of responsibility for being both God and the devil, right? Um and yeah. So I wasn't even sure that I was making sense. I also had a really bad headache because I'd had to look at a screen to sign documents at the doctor's office that day. And and when I asked my mom if she got it, she was like, "Yeah, I actually do. Like, now you're making sense and I understand." And it was like, wow, wow. Like, there is no person in the world that has seen me less, that has been able to see me less than my mother. My mother maintained for years in my adult life, my teenage, my child, like my childhood, my teenage, and my adult life, that I was a junkie. That I was a junkie. Like, like she started checking me for track marks when I was in fifth grade. I had pupil checks when I came through the door. Like, my mom thought I was on drugs. My mom thought I was nuts. She was very frightened of me. She had every reason to be. I thought about killing her a lot. She, like, that was just her intuition working. Like, it was like very possible, very, very possible that I killed my mom or killed both my parents. Like, that was absolutely on the table. Like, I, didn't follow through with those things. I did stand over their bed with the biggest knife from the kitchen. And, um, there's absolutely reason for her to be afraid of me, but she othered me like from a very young age. So it's like super weird that this phone call started out with her saying like, "Oh yeah, like you were a normal girl. Why are you trying to pretend like you weren't normal?" And it's um like, lady, you're the one that told me that when you brought me home from the hospital and I didn't have any desire for you, any desire for human contact, did not cry for attention, did not fuss or cry, didn't sleep as much as you thought a baby would, and was just like all big eyes, aware, watching people intently, that you were like, this, like, my child is off. You've told me on so many occasions, maybe like only when she was drunk though. um So I didn't say that to her at all. Um, and it was only in like a follow-up email after I processed the conversation that we had had that I articulated to her that like the whole reason that I know Sean Todd is because I inadvertently quoted Charles Manson word for word when I was a teenager in the hospital to his best friend. Right? Like everything happens for a reason. It's so crazy. And so this has been a really long phone call that I had with my mom. Like I'm summing it up, but it was like 3 hours or something, and and my head kept hurting worse and worse, and I was just like worn out, and when she was like, "Okay, can we be done now?" I was like, I was more than happy to be done, and it was like it was about that moment that I that like we wrapped things up, and, and everything was good. You know, like I explained to my mom that like there's a child in me, like I can't help it. I can't control what it does. And there's like a serial killer in me that I'm concerned considering recent events like that I do like completely separate, like it is a problem that there's a killer in me that wants out, and there's a child in me that wants out. And I explained to her that the masculine is Killian. and 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 that how I like fixed things there, I think like like I'm not losing control. I'm not completely separating from Killian entering the chat, right? Um pardon me, ever since I named him. I like gave him a name, and I was like, "Hey Killian, I recognize that you're the one doing the cleaning and it's not me. And maybe the reason is because you don't have the lady parts that have the endometriosis and like whatever, but thank you so much." And like that gave me the opportunity to be more engaged when Killian was previously completely in control. And I'd be like, "Where did you put everything? Why did you throw my things away? You broke my shit. You didn't take care of my dolls." And it's like and then it's like but like cleaning, like you like the process of cleaning my house is like D.I.D, like I don't know, like therapy time or something. It's game on, if you were to witness this, because it's like they're not my toys, they're Mindith's toys. So don't throw away Mindith's things. Like she will play with them. I know she's not playing with them right now. That's because we've been doing adult things, right? Like, please don't throw away my craft supplies, like I know you don't have any use for them. Like Killian is like hates all this girly shit everywhere, and there are things that I needed to do in order to create a safe space for Killian, right? And then I just needed to be appreciative. I just needed to be like, thank you so much. And for every moment in my past that I wasn't aware previously, that I was channeling a masculine energy that I had no idea where it was coming from. Like, well, here's the rub, folks. Now I know where it was coming from. Like my masculine that I was channeling, like when I felt like an ornery little boy, like, oh, what? It was Sean Todd. So like my like mannerisms, like so I have mannerisms that are like now that I've met him, now that I know this person, um like and have witnessed him doing me, in front of me, and I know he's not doing me because like we just met, bro. Like we've known each other since 2021. Like I know that he's not copycatting me at all. He's just like, this is just what it is. It's made me aware that masculine divinity, like, it has a place that it needs to go. It has a place that it does belong. It has a place that it flows from. And just like and not that he realizes it, he's not aware like I am at all, but the very feminine, like, aspects of his personality, like, that's like me. That's like me. So being able to other masculine divinity, energy, identity, as both Killian, just a a named entity, because it's clearly not me, or it's me from an alternate reality. See, that's really where I land with it. It's like, well, that's just that makes the most sense, that it's just me from the alternate timeline where I was born a boy. Killian was just to be my name had I been born a boy, but surprise, I'm not a boy, so I'm not Killian, not in this timeline. But in channeling something, in order to survive what I went through, I just went to like the easiest, nearest, right there at hand. Like, boy. There you go. Um why I thought that I wasn't a girl is because I didn't have like a nurturing, sensitive nature. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna reproduce. I'm not gonna, like, this housewife thing, like this, all these victims running around here, this vanity. Like, I did not identify with any of the societally prescribed uh, normative expressions of the female gender, right? Um, and the unfortunately, the way that I, was masculine, like, I was toxic masculine. I was toxic masculinity. Like, that's what I was about. Like, I was like my first boyfriend, he was like, I was mean to him. Like, I was basically his abuser. Like, I was mean to him. I was violent. I was like, what, you can't take a punch, I fucking hit people. Like, if you littered, if you threw your cigarette butt down, shit, if you like just started smoking, I might just fucking slug you for putting the fucking cancer stick in your mouth, cuz I care about you, don't you know? And and like, I was an aggressive um person. However, I was not like really outwardly violent. Like, I would be violent. I would be verbally violent. I could be so verbally violent. Um, like the way, like, my third eye I can see, so I can read you to a nub. And I wasn't really physically violent until I took Prozac. I told my mom this on the phone call, and that, like, a lot of the problems that I have, whereas, like, that I'm, characterizing myself as broken, that I tell people, like, I'm broken. Like, it's nice that you love me and you enjoy me, but, like, you just need to understand that I'm broken. Like, you don't want me. I'm broken. Like, you don't understand how broken. You don't understand what I mean when I say broken, I guess. And my mom didn't understand why I kept saying, but I'm broken, like, well, yeah, the D.I.D is part of it. But it wasn't until they put me on Prozac, and I was so angry that I was literally seeing red. Like, that's a thing. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing until I experienced it on Prozac. Like, I was angry. I like I I was fueled by just this seething seething rage was what propelled me through the world. And 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 I was just like all the time, like one of these days I'm gonna snap. One of these days I'm gonna snap, and I'm gonna kill everybody, and I'm gonna kill myself. And like the thing of it is that like always with me, I wanted to kill a whole lot of people before I killed myself. That was always the plan with me. I never wanted to just kill myself. It was never just a simple suicide. I didn't want to spare anyone damage from me because there was a voice inside my head telling me to hurt people. No, 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 no. I am the voice. I own that. And and I wanted to just I just wanted to take out as many people. I just wanted to leave the biggest dent that I possibly could on my way out. Um so I was a ball of rage, but I wasn't outwardly physically violent really until Prozac. And then I was. And then I had years and years of learning anger management and controlling my anger and processing that and everything. And yeah, so it's I mean basically I'm just sharing the experience of what I'm going through. Like I'm 41, been having um like an awareness of like absolutely fitting the criteria and really should have been diagnosis but should have been diagnosed already with this uh DID, split personality, since 2012, the first time I was shot up with Thorazine. um oh man, in this phone call I also told my mom that the very second time I was shot up with Thorazine was in Osawatomie State Hospital. And I took a bite out of a guy's leg. He was like trying to touch me, and I took a bite out of his leg. And I felt like that was beyond my control. It felt like that was something that I witnessed myself do in horror, but not totally split from. If I'm being honest, not totally split from. That was, I was, I think it was a, it was a later hospitalization after Signature in Missouri that I think they put me on Seroquel, and Seroquel really was it installed what I called the kill switch. And I was like being shut down. Like my whole being was just like time for you to sleep. And I would have to fight and fight and fight and fight and fight that. And if I did fight that, I would like cycle to a different type of personality, go through like a different mood or mode. um but we're talking what, like 2015, 2016. At that point I was not at all thinking that I had DID. I did not think that I had DID until it was revealed that my significant other I had been with since 2005 was DID. I didn't even mean to reveal that to him. It horrified him. He's never spoken about it since. He's never acknowledged it since. That is what the DID system is designed to do. It's to keep you unaware that you are DID. This is how you function. But yeah, I just like I read back through my journals. I was like you're like act like so like we're back in what, like 2017 or 2016. Um, and I'm like, you're acting like I'm like a crazy person talking about the date night that we had or us making out. And it's like, I don't know why that is. Like, would and so I got my journal and I read the accounts of our time together, and he was like, I remember that day up until that checkpoint, and after 4:35, completely black, completely black. I have no memory again until the next day, and I'm like, "Oh," and and him hearing about what he did with me, him acting, him being in the role of my boyfriend and engaging intimately with me as far as making out and going on dates. That's the most that we did when he was, as it turned out, not himself. Um, Horrified him. Like the color drained from his face. He got incredibly nauseous. He scurried backwards like a fucking demon was sitting in front of him, into the corner, and started crying. Like that was like, I did not realize that he was DID to protect him from realizing, like, I thought he was just trying to like gaslight me, yo. Like, I was like this shit happened. Like I have all these detailed accounts, like you can read it yourself. That's what you did, that's what you said, that's what you wore. I keep track of everything. I journal all the time, and it's been my saving grace, I'll tell you. Um because if I didn't journal as religiously as I do, I would not have the proof that I'm not a crazy person for myself. So many synchronicities, so much stuff that it's like, I'm just losing my mind. I'm just totally losing my mind. Completely geeked. I need to sleep. I'm wrong. Like, no. There's the timestamp. There's what happened. There's what was said. There's who walked by. There's everything. Like, nope. Nope. You can like just read the printout of, you are not crazy. What you think is manifesting in front of you in real time and in like no time at this point. And that's good or bad. Good and bad, which is the issue, which is the rub, which is the problem. Um and So we get to the end of this really good phone call, and we've, drug all of this stuff like out into the open, and I've made my mom aware of it. Um and I'm telling her this because what I want for her to do is just like create a safe space for my child. I call them solid save states. For my child's solid save state to be in the body. Because all I can reason is that me from the future, or channeling other versions of me from the future, Sean Todd, uh, was occupying my body when I was a little child. And that time, like that soul's time has to balance out. So now she's getting my adult body when it does not serve betterment of me. It's not for my survival. Like, so we're just trying to, I mean, we're just seeking balance here, explain that. And my mom's like, that makes a lot of sense to me. That makes a lot of sense to her. It's like, okay, well, I'm really glad I explained that then. But yeah, my head is just like killing me, and we're done with this phone call. And I feel like a an excruciating pain plus yawn. Am I gonna pass out or have a seizure feeling? Okay, distinctly, these are the thoughts that, like, if I'm like, how do you feel, that's what I feel like. And I'm like, and then I'm just my little solid save state, sitting on the phone, and all and we already said, like, okay, bye mom, okay, bye mommy, okay, bye mommy. I don't like, I'm not good at imitating her, but okay, bye mommy. And I'm back. I'm in the back seat now, completely in the back seat, and I'm like, you're still on the phone. Say something. Say something. Say something, because you're keeping the line open, so say something. Say something to mom. Like, you could tell her that this is you. Tell her that this is you. And and in response to say something coming from the back seat, Mendith goes, well, mom hangs up the phone, And Minda's still sitting on the open line. Say something, I'm giving up on you. And I'm in the backseat just like, oh, this is such a victory. This is such a breakthrough. This is like, we did soul work today, son. And 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 I'm like, can Mindith like only receive information from the back seat if she can correlate it with a song or a movie lyric that's in her consciousness? And also, this is not an old song that we use to reach Mindith either. This is a very recent song. So as long like as long as it's something that can correlate to music at all, like Mindith has access to everything. And like I've been able to wrench control away from Killian. Or I would have killed people. I've not been able to wrench control away from Mindith. She's like she's like the boss. Like this child runs me, this child runs me, this child ruins me. Don't say that. That's not going to be good for her, Mindy. Yeah. Um I know. And and it's and she's not and she hasn't been coming out. Like there's been a couple of times in the last couple of years because Sean Todd has beaten Mindith and hurt Mindith and betrayed Mindith that I was like, she's not gonna come out again. Like this time that we're putting her to bed. And it's weird because like it feels like an effort, um Constance, like a babysitter type of like motherly presence. Killian, this like angsty teenager boy, um lacks patience, emotional maturity, not very interested in being the babysitter, but like, trying a little bit, but needs like guidance. Um, and me, but like I don't know. Like Mindy is the it's difficult. It's difficult. And I don't want to, and I'm like, and there's like trip wires that like my brain doesn't like to go there at all. But like what I identified as um was 16, the number 16. And I'm just aware of a person existing, of a couple of people existing that named their daughter 16. And it's like it feels like that took that from me. That like shelf stable solid save state kind of. So so mindy's so mindy's mindy's more like a mess. 16 16 is more capable than Mindy. And it's also like it's really hard to define. It's like it's really difficult to delineate between these aspects of self that have become so other. They are entirely different entities that occupy my body in order for me to function in society. So yeah, that was really cool that happened. That was really good. And this is just my journey with dissociative identity disorder, I suppose. um I'm obviously, why I share anything about my life is is so that you can learn from my mistakes and you can utilize the tools that I've figured out how to use. Um, and yeah, so I do hope that it reaches somebody and that it helps somebody that needs to see it. Um, and I feel like it's a really big breakthrough. Um, all I all I really wanted this video to be is this very last thing that I'm going to say, and then it's like the feature of D.I.D where you explain that you have D.I.D to someone and then like you switch and you're not like trying to hide the fact that you switched from them, and like you're not embarrassed about it as you like look back, a couple of days later, but the whole conversation doesn't want to like come up in your memory, and it kind of like trickles back to you through the days, like it's loading and then it's loaded, and like computer loading and then loaded, and cuz like I was really happy that I switch at the end of the phone call with mom. That means that I felt like I was safe with my mom. I historically have not felt safe to be myself or anything with my mom. And as I was as I recalled the conversation that like at like when I switched into my little solid save state, I didn't know what mom and I had just talked about. I was like, we had conversation and it was good. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was good. And and like that kind of went away, but it did come back. And I didn't stay in the little solid save state. Like as soon as I like had the realization that like she only she only heard what I said, that she could sing as song lyrics. Like, can she only talk in song lyrics? Is that like that definitely happens to me where I'm only communicating in song lyrics, and I know that there's a part like the brain can get damaged. If the brain is damaged or in autistic children, like there's the possibility that they cannot speak verbally, but they can communicate in song. And as soon as I was thinking that, like she went away, and she's flitting away faster than ever now. But it was just like in emailing my mom, filling in all the blanks and everything. I had fully intended, like the whole point of the email, like the reason that I emailed was to let her know that by having that conversation with me and having patience and listening to me and seeing me, she created a safe space so that my little could come out. And that is like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, mom. That was the whole point of me. But like by the time I got to the end of that email, I was like, it seems like there was something else I was going to say and I don't remember what it was. It was that. And it's like, I don't want to remember it. My consciousness doesn't want to hold on to it. It's not that I'm ashamed to tell her or afraid to tell her. It's not that I don't want to think about it, but it's just like my brain does not want to remember the little solid save state. And like the amnesia type of stuff that that I experience with D.I.D, like I'm sure that that's a shared experience, and I was just like thinking like, yeah, that thing where like you switch in front of somebody and then like totally like don't remember anything that happened, like yeah, there's a takeaway that like things were fine, nothing bad happened. Because like the thing with it is that like if something bad happened, then the little solid save state would not be behind the wheel of the car anymore. If anything happened to threaten her, someone else would take the wheel, and she would go into the background. How far into the background, I don't know. far enough to be safe, I suppose. Um, but yeah, it's like, I mean, it was like probably 30 seconds that I was like fully in a solid save state that I had no control over. And all that happened is I was like, say something to mom. You're still on the phone. Say something to mom. Say something kind. Tell her that this is Mendith. Like, hi, I'm Mendith. Like, yes, this is Mendith. This is I am that thing that you were that they were talking about, that you were talking about, that she was talking about. I'm that thing. Um, and I couldn't get her to do that. So like nothing bad happened. The only thing that happened was all she could do was sing, and I started examining it, and she went away. But we are also honoring every appearance of my little solid save state with a YouTube video alive, because trying to create a safe space for her so that she will come out, so that she will not get so pent up that she's got to take the wheel from someone else and go, I don't know. I mean, it's not like she doesn't seem to be up to no good, but she's just a kid. So the challenge I'm facing right now is like staying indoors where I live or going indoors where I live so that people in my area don't meet me as my little. And it kind of sucks. That's like, that's I was like, there's like it or lump it, I kind of am in a situation where I need to have a protective entity, like a dog or a boyfriend or a babysitter or a mother. Um, I can't get this one apart. There we go. I got it. I'm not sure exactly how I need to be rotating it so that it matches. Oh, I got it. That's how it needs to be, but I've got to build the other side of it. See, this is the oh, that's how it needed to be. Yeah, so that was good, and that's what I wanted to say. Um, like I'm not trying to hide my disorder from you. My disorder is trying to hide itself from me, even though the cat's out of the bag. Um, and it's like, uh, my mom was like, maybe you should get a therapist, and people like say maybe you should get a therapist, and it's like, yeah, maybe. I've gone in front of several therapists and like told them like point blank, like D.I.D, help me with it. And they were like, oh, you don't have D.I.D. Well, like, yeah, because I'm not I'm not comfortable with you. I don't know you. You're not safe for like them to come out, and like I don't think that that's going to be especially productive. um if I can't just like, I mean, I haven't been able to just tell a therapist like, this is what we're dealing with. I need help dealing with this. If you can help, but I don't know if you can help because like I'm the one person on the face of the earth as far as I can tell that operates with the full awareness and all of the implications thereof of being God. So I don't know how much anybody can help me, but I can certainly help myself. And even if somebody else was helping me, like, that's still me. So all help I receive is me helping myself. And yeah. So I think this was good. And I'm not really sure how to end it. How do we end it? Do we be mended? I don't know. Breathe. It's not super. Love is glue and we can mend it. Help me inhale. Mend it with you. Mend it with you? We'll float around. Hang out on clouds. Then we'll come down. Have a hangover. I broke it. Have a hangover. Wish away. The soul is cheap. Lesson learned. Wish me luck. Soothe the burn. Wake me up. I want these in my mouth. I think it's going to be satisfying. Oh, so satisfying. Ah. Love and light. If you dig my vibe, subscribe. What else do I say now? I say other things. You say, God's got it. Like, just do it. The Nike slogan. A death row inmate inspiration, don't you know it? Bless up.